welcome to this week's Maryland's Missing and the Murdered. My name is Kara Stone, and Maryland's Missing and the Murdered is a weekly YouTube channel that covers the topic of missing and murdered individuals from the state of Maryland. If you haven't watched The Keepers on Netflix, I suggest you watch it. Or if you don't have Netflix, please research the unsolved murders of Sister Kathy Sesnick and Joyce Malecki. The murder of Sister Kathy has unraveled a system of abuse that involved the Archdiocese of Baltimore, priests, and police officers. What I'm going to talk about this week are unsolved murders in and around Baltimore that could potentially be this ring of priests and police officers. Could accused priest Joseph Maskell be the ringleader of these murders? I have watched a video on Garrett Sorensen's YouTube channel showing a Google's map of these victims and how Archbishop Keough was center on these maps. A theory was presented that the victims were taken to Joseph Maskell's office at Archbishop Keough. I will let you decide. So let's discuss the 8 potential other victims in chronological order. 16-year-old Pamela Conyers borrowed her family's car on October 16, 1970, to go to Herondale Mall in Glen Burnie, Maryland, to buy nail polish for a high school dance. She was reported missing when she did not return home. She was found 4 days later on October 20th, 1970. The car was found on a median in a wooded area of Route 100 that was undergoing construction. Pamela was found close to the car, raped and murdered. In September 1971, Grace Montaigne was a cheerleader at Franklin Senior High School. Claire's mates saw her get into a dark blue or green car where they were told Grace was meeting someone for a modeling job. On September 29, 1971, Grace's body was found behind Mount Auburn Cemetery in the Westport section of Baltimore City. She was beaten with a cinder block and had burn marks on her back and right wrist. Francis Danny Crocetti, a 14-year-old altar boy, was last seen on March 24, 1975, when he told his father that he wanted to go camping. His father reported him missing 3 days later. On March 28, 1975, Danny was found face up in a 2 feet deep stream behind Our Lady of Victory School. He had been stabbed in his throat and hands. Roseanne Sturts was last seen on August 25, 1975, outside the TikTok Club on Utah Street in Baltimore. A relative reported her missing when she did not come home. Her body was discovered on December 15, 1975, off Route 108 in an isolated wooded area in Columbia, Maryland. Her body went unidentified until a sketch posted in the newspaper led to her identification. Donna Frye, a 22-year-old, was last seen at home on Castle Street in Baltimore, and she was found on Fort Meade property on December 7, 1976. Donna Frye was found stabbed and naked. I was unable to find a picture of Donna, but I was able to find one newspaper clipping. 22-year-old Diane Lynn Miller went missing on November 14, 1978, in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Friends stated that they dropped her off at the intersection of Caton and Frederick Avenues where she said she would hitchhike home. She was found stabbed to death on November 24th, 1978, on Route 3 in Glen Burnie. Heather Porter was a 13-year-old who lived on Hazel Avenue behind St. Clement's Church. She was last seen on September 22nd, 1981 at her home. She was found a day later in Towson, Maryland, in a wooded area off Goucher Boulevard. She had been raped and strangled. DNA was taken and there has been no match. Lastly, 21-year-old Kimberly Bock disappeared from the area of Hanover Street in Baltimore, Maryland after drinking with friends on July 21st, 1982. She was last seen around 2 a.m. She was found deceased later that day on Shelbourne Road in Arbutus, Maryland. I could not locate any information on her death, just that the Baltimore County Police webpage has her listed as a homicide victim. Thank you for joining me this week. I am anxious to hear your thoughts, so email me at marylandsmissing@gmail.com. Music is by Silent Vengeance. Sources will be listed in the outro. I will see you again next week. Be kind to one another. You never know what will happen tomorrow.